Okay, so we're going to try something a bit different today, and something that I'm a little bit worried about because I'm not sure how I'm going to go with it, but let's give it a go because I think we're ready for it. Now, we've done a couple of games so far. One's where our character, our sprite, will run around trying to dodge things and trying to, I guess, get hit by the good ball and gain points. And the second one we made was a Pong game. Now, the third one we're going to try to make is just a running game with a platform, but we're going to try and do something a bit different. We're going to try to use the variables a little bit more today, and it's going to get a bit tricky. And what I'm going to suggest is that you stop every few minutes and you try to make sure that you're catching up. First thing I'm going to do is make my sprite a little bit smaller to make the game seem a little bit more like it makes sense. Now I'm going to give something for my sprite to run along. So I'm going to make some characters for my own um, for my sprite to run on. So let's make it a platform like this. Okay, so the platform it's going to run on is just a red shape. Let's try to make it the exact same color. A red shape with a red outline, like that. Okay, we're going to move that character along here. We might even try to make it a little bit smaller because at the moment it's quite big. Maybe we change it down to 50. Yeah, let's try and do that. Or maybe make it a bit longer if that's possible. It's possible to make that longer. Bit longer. Okay, good. All right, now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to press duplicate and duplicate it just a little bit more as we go along. Might do another one here. Duplicate, duplicate, and just make it so that your character kind of has to jump throughout the levels. Okay, make it a little bit harder. I'm not going to do too many now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start our cat by standing just on there. Okay. And what we would do usually is we would go through, I'll really quickly go through and do what I usually do, and that is to do the left and right. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently today, just to show you something different. We're going to do, um, instead of doing how we do it, we're going to use these sensing buttons and say if my right arrow is pressed, then I'm going to change X by 10, but if the left button is pressed, I'm going to change X by -10. Let's just check that that works. Great, my character walks, but he can walk on the middle of nowhere. Okay, you'll see, looks like he runs a bit quicker because we made him smaller. So you might end up finding that you need to actually bring that down to about 7 or even less than that. Now he runs pretty normally. Now I've taught some people in the past how to make your character sort of jump up and jump down by changing Y by 10 and then coming back down. But it always looks a little bit jolty. Doesn't really look good. So we're going to try and do something today, which like I said, I've never actually done before. So we'll see how we go. But it's basically setting a character with gravity. So you're going to try to set the gravity of the whole world to a certain thing and then try to make your character change. Now, there is absolutely no problem if you have to stop me step by step and actually make sure you're getting this part right, because I had to do the same exact thing the first time. And it'll probably take a few times of us doing it before we could do it without actually looking. So we'll see how we go. Okay, firstly, we're going to put in one of our flag ones and we're going to put in a forever and an if, just like usually. Okay. But this time we're going to say if my cat character isn't touching the red, okay, let's go through that again. It's not. It has to be like, instead of doing touching a color, we're not going to do touching a sprite. We're going to do touching a color, but we're going to do this time. We're going to say if it's not. So we're saying if it's not touching a color. So you can see there if it's not touching. Now you might be wondering how we actually figure out how to get the exact color. Now you'll see in the green part, there's this little droplet here, and that will let you match the colors perfectly. So you press on the color you want it to do that. Okay, so now it's saying if I'm not touching that color, let me get this right. If I'm not touching that color, then I want the Y, changing the Y by a variable that I have not created yet. Let's go in and make a variable. This variable is called gravity. Okay, this will make sense soon. Well, it might not make sense, but we'll see how we go. We're going to change the y by gravity. So if I decide that I'm going to leave that, then it's affected by the gravity. But we haven't set the gravity yet. Okay, and we're going to change the gravity by -1. And basically that means it will slowly come down. If the higher you rate that gravity, the stronger that pull is. So if you set that to 100, as soon as you jump up, it'll like pull it straight back down. So it's got really strong gravity. Okay, so that's half of it. We're halfway there. So hopefully you're doing all right because we're halfway there. Like I said, you can stop here, make that one, and then we'll catch the rest up later. We're going to do another thing with the flag again. This time we're going to do the flag, and once again we're going to do a forever and an if block. Okay, so this time we're going to do if we're touching the red one, use that little droplet thing. If we're touching that and I press the up arrow, but that doesn't fit there. So let's do another if block. And if I press up, then I want to... This is where it kind of gets confusing, and to explain why these things work is a little bit tricky. I try always when I'm teaching to explain why, but sometimes I don't 100% know why, so I'm still kind of learning with you guys. So there we go. So if that happens, if I press the up arrow, I want to set the gravity to 10. But I also want to change it by 10, because we always need to jump upwards. Okay. That's pretty much all you have to do. We're going to test and see if that works now. Press play. Oh wait, you know what? Instead of up, let's do space, because space makes way more sense as a jump button. Okay. There we go. You can see how much better this character actually like drops down now. Whereas usually it looks quite jolty, but actually like smoothly drops down now. Now let's just play around with some things now. If I set the gravity to 20, watch what happens. The character jumps really, really high. So if you want your game to be like that, you just set that gravity to high. Now, if you're setting the gravity to 20, you might want to actually change the gravity every time that it's not touching it to be like stronger pulling it down, and that'll kind of weigh it up sort of the same. So that way, look how strong it is getting pulled down. So before it even gets a chance to sort of be up high, if I did it even stronger, this time it almost wouldn't even jump off the top. See that? So you might want to then set the gravity back to 1. Let's try and see if I would set the gravity to 20, sorry, to 30 this time. It's taking that long for the gravity to come back down. So I think 10 was actually a good jump. It was a good level here. Let's have a look here. There you go. So now you would make another couple of platforms. You might duplicate this. And we'll go through. Now, the next time we might go through how to make a sort of a bad guy who runs back and forth. But just for now, like I said, just for this lesson, I'm happy for you to really just to copy that down. The main things I want you to understand is basically we're saying if your character stops touching this, so if it does go up in the air, we want to make sure that the gravity is pulling it down by 1. And then we want to make sure if we press the up arrow that we're setting the gravity to 10, and we're also changing the y by 10. It's not completely clear cut as to why it works, but just for now, do it step by step, make your character work, and then next time we'll go through and see if we can develop this game a little bit further. I hope that's been really helpful for you, and if you need any extra help, just let me know. Thanks for watching.